All right, everybody, welcome into Another Dooley Noted Podcast. So glad you could click on and enjoy this. Or if you're listening later on, I mean, there's so many ways you can listen, whether it's Google Podcasts or Spotify or Apple or WRUF or CastBox or Overcast and Podbean. How about that? Podbean. Have you ever listened to anything on Podbean, Evan? I don't know. I don't know about Podbean, but 39 different platforms you can find this podcast. Remember, like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. In a little bit, we're going to have Ike Hilliard on. Looking forward to that. Robbie Andreu's going to sit in for the last half hour. Did want to talk a little Gator football, and obviously losing Brian Johnson was a blow. You knew he wasn't going to be here much longer, even if he was here for another year. He interviewed for some head coaching jobs. I was a little bit surprised that he went the route he went to go to the Eagles as a quarterback coach, but he's very good at it. And, you know, one thing about it, when you go to the NFL, you start on your pension in terms of, you know, getting the years in. So if you're going to be in the NFL, this is a good chance. And it also, I think it's great for his resume. The question, of course, is how much does Florida miss him? And I think they'll miss him in recruiting a lot. We know that Dan Mullen's still calling the plays anyway. He's just getting suggestions from Brian Johnson. But Brian worked really well with everybody. I mean, very likable guy. I think he'll do a great job with the Eagles. Florida, although this isn't official, they did hire Garrick McGee, who was on the staff already as a defensive. And I know what you're thinking. Why would they hire a defensive analyst to be their quarterback coach? But when you're a defensive analyst, and I talked to Charlie Strong about this, when you're a defensive analyst, what you're looking at is the other team's offense. You're looking at offense, and you're trying to figure things out. You're learning things about offense. This was the plan all along, from what I've been told, that when they brought in Garrick McGee and they said, hey, when Brian leaves, here's the guy to replace him. I thought they might go for somebody like Kerwin Bell or, you know, but look, I've been wrong on everything so far. You know, whether it's Charlie Strong, Kerwin Bell. I guess I just want a staff around here that are guys that I really like. So that happens. And also, we had the schedule release, which was no big news. If you watch this show or listen to this show or listen to the tailgate, we've been telling you for weeks that Florida was going to open with Alabama and then play Tennessee. I mean, open in the SEC with Alabama and then play Tennessee. But there was a couple of interesting things on the reveal. One was that the USF game, which I had been told before was going to be a road game, and I guess it didn't work on my brain, and I didn't know it was going to be, but it is going to be a road game. So Florida's second game of the year will be at Raymond James Stadium, which is good. Nice. You're going to play in the stadium where they played the Super Bowl. I think that's pretty cool. But the reason for that is they asked if they could move their one home game up to the 21st for whatever reason, and then Florida will play them on the 22nd and 23rd in Gainesville, of course. So it's still a 2-for-1. Don't think it isn't. Also, the other thing that was interesting to me was that Florida opens their next to last game of the season is against Missouri rather than against a non-conference opponent. Well, that was done because the SEC is trying to say, we're tired. We don't want these game before rivalry games to be these crappy games that everybody's playing, and they're making teams play. This is Florida and their turn to bite the bullet. So that's a little bit of football there. And now we're going to go to a lot of football. We're going to go talk to one of the greatest to ever play here at the University of Florida, if not the greatest. I mean, I made this argument with somebody the other day, Ike, that I think your stop and go, catch and run might have been the greatest single play in Florida football history.
Well, I appreciate that. I would say I'd have to rank up there, you know, with one of the best plays in college football. I'm just blessed to be a part of it, and you know, blessed to be a part of Florida history.
Does your knees ever hurt after making that stop?
No, I've done pretty well up until that point. Just you know, one of the great reactions in the sport, and just fortunate enough to be able to make that play for our team.
When you think back, and of course we're talking to the great Ike Hilliard, former Florida, and of course probably a little bit excited about the Bucs too. We'll get to that. But when you think back to that night, what is it? Is there one memory that stands out? What, you know, in the locker room or after the game?
There were so many. I think it started with the fact that I was playing in my home state. to be able to be back home and have so many, family and friends there, was definitely meaningful. Also, playing so poorly against Florida State at their place, having another opportunity to play them again and sort of redeem myself for that performance was also, uh, gratifying for me. Uh, just the team itself, I kick myself a lot. I think uh, I also probably blame myself unfairly, but to say that that one loss at Tallahassee probably prevented us from being one of the better college football teams to ever play the game, and not be in that conversation, it kind of puts a bad taste in my mouth, pretty often. But that team, the teammates, the coaching staff, the fans, were all unbelievable. Everything about that night was perfect, and it was just great to be a part of the history of Florida that way.
Who was the one guy that got your minds right after that loss? Because that was a long bus ride home. Sure, it wasn't much fun. And then obviously you had to get back and get ready for Alabama, which was a great team. I mean, who did it? One guy specifically get everybody's minds right?
Well, I can only speak from a personal level. I think because I played so poorly, I don't know if people remember or not. While I did get injured to a degree in that game, I was benched for the start of the SEC championship game. So after I was told that was enough motivation for me.
That's all you needed, right?
That's all. Yeah.
I remember after the game in New Orleans, you went up to Spurrier and shook his hand, and I said, "Oh, Ike's going. He's definitely turning pro." Or was that just more appreciation?
Just appreciation, happiness, happy for him, happy for the school. I think, all kids are probably told, when you're recruited, hey, you're going to be a part of something special. We're gonna compete for championships, whether it's conference or not, or national championships. And at that moment, like I said, to be in my home state, and for Coach, it was a pretty cool deal personally, to be a part of helping him win one.
When he's recruiting you, you're a DB, right? In high school, an asshole quarterback, right?
It was an interesting story. I won't get too long-winded here, but
that's okay. We got plenty of time.
All right. I was a young kid out of obviously a small town in Louisiana. 5,500 people, give or take. Graduation class of 78 people, 463 people in my school. So I played both ways. We didn't have many people, on the football team, but we were all pretty much related, in that small town. But I was a 171-pound kid. I played running back and free safety.
Wow.
I played running back in a wishbone wing T offense. And I obviously inspired to be like my Uncle Dalton. And, most people, or some people, obviously, in Florida may or may not know my uncle, but my Uncle Dalton Hilliard,
Sure.
Obviously, is a Louisiana legend. Played at Patterson High, obviously. Went to LSU, that school in Louisiana, and ended up being drafted by the Saints and played there for 9 years. So I inspired to do what he did, and I played running back, and I thought I was a pretty good one. But at 171 pounds, soaking wet coming out of high school, and didn't lift many weights and that sort of thing. I didn't think running back was going to be in my future, even though Warwick Dunn the year before going to Florida State, being a smaller guy. Also, my brother, Ivory, played free safety.
Right.
I'm sorry, strong safety for LSU. And going into what had been my freshman year was going to be his senior year in '94. But for me, I just happened to be I just happened to benefit from a poor passing league, pretty much growing up in high school, and I had a ton of interceptions. So I stood back there 15 yards, sometimes 20. The ball went up, I took it. It wasn't a real.
Nobody else was getting it, right?
Nah, just ball went up, I went and got the ball, and everyone viewed me as a DB. Obviously because of my size at running back, I didn't think they saw me as a DB. as a running back, excuse me. And because my brother played strong safety, the coach at the time at LSU was Curly Hallman. And outside of everyone assuming that I would go to LSU, they viewed me as a free safety. So I played free and my brother played strong. And I politely told him and everybody else I saw Jerome Bettis and Natrone Means, and at 171 pounds, that wasn't my future. I didn't want to hit anybody. So, the Gators called later in the recruitment process, and at some point that relationship continued to build, and they offered me the last scholarship I believe they had, and they asked me if I would come as an athlete and if I'd start. I told them I wanted to play wide receiver, so they said, you can start as a wide out, and if it doesn't work out, we'll move you to free safety or defense. And I politely told them, Coach, you don't have to worry about that. I'm not hitting anybody.
That's why you made that stick move, because you didn't want those guys to hit you.
No, not at all. That wasn't in my DNA, that's for sure.
Well, but what about playing with guys like, whether it was Chris Doering early, Jack Jackson, then all of a sudden you get Riddell, you get Kwesi. I mean, boy, you were around some great receivers.
I think I was blessed, and it really started with the late great Aubrey Hill. Yeah. He was the first guy to really put his arm around me as a young player, and kind of showed me the ropes, and I appreciated Aubrey for that, because he didn't have to do that, and being fortunate enough to be there with Mr. Showtime himself, Jack Jackson, and watch him run around and the plays he made and how electric he was, and Chris and obviously Sorolla being from Louisiana obviously helped me. And then that freshman class that was assembled in 94, we just had a special group, myself and Riel and Jaquez, Nafis Kareem, Travis McGriff, and even Jamie Richardson, had some talent, but it didn't work out. But the talented group there.
What, was there anything you had to get used to with Coach Spurrier? Because that was, as we all know, he's different. And he's different in the way he approaches things. He's still a very good friend of mine, but he's still got some great stories.
It's just really the sarcasm. And, there's a little bit of truth in every joke, but, just how hard he was on his quarterbacks and how sarcastic he can be to make you feel so small, if you've made a mistake. And I think that was the best part of being around. It kept you on your toes and kept you wanting to not be in that space of his, to get into those comments of backlash or punishment. But obviously a great offensive mind. We were fortunate enough to be as talented as they assumed we were going to be. And the fact that we can put, 3, 4, and 5 wideouts out there and run around with anybody, it's a pretty cool thing to be a part of.
We got a Facebook comment from Tommy Lowe. I like Ike. The stop and pop is legendary. Go Gators! All right.
Appreciate that.
All right, so let's talk about the Bucs. Obviously you had a great career with the Giants and the Bucs. And you're an NFL coach. Can you be excited about another NFL team?
No, I can't. Only because of the fact that we felt like it had a chance to be our year. We ran off 11 straight in Pittsburgh and had a tremendous amount of success. And our defense was one of the best in the league. We had 2 very significant injuries, and not that it changed the dynamic of what we were supposed to do, but, obviously you want to play with all you guys. And offensively, I think at some point you have to, you don't have to. At some point, that you can't keep the other team in the game by giving it to them, and that's the way we went out. So by turning it over 5 times, we're not going to beat anybody, even though we put up 37 points. But we felt, I feel like that team was primed to make a run, and it's just disappointing how it all ended. But there's only gonna be one team that's happy at the end of it anyway. But hopefully, we'll lick our wounds, we'll get better, and we'll come back stronger next year.
When did you, because those of you that don't know, Ike's been around the league and he's been coaching for a while now. When did you know you wanted to coach? Was it while you were a player? Or?
Yeah. I think I've told this story before. I think for me, it was probably for sure when I put it out in print around year 7. That was after we made the Super Bowl run with the Giants and unfortunately came up short in Tampa against a very good defensive football team with the Baltimore Ravens. But being around and being fortunate enough to have the offensive mind of Sean Payton for 3 years, it was really what kind of pushed me toward the chess match and understanding, why Sean, created the matchups he did, how he put it together, how he sold it to us, and then watching it unfold, while we executed. I think that really did it for me. And, I knew that at some point when I took the cleats off, I'd like to be around that and hopefully give back to the game in that regard. But I've been blessed. I was fortunate enough to play 12 years. I got into coaching immediately after I finished playing. I never took any breaks. We were all fired after the 2008 season with the Bucs. I mean, we were 9-4 going into December, and we needed pretty much just one victory to get into the tournament, and we lost 4 straight. And the last game of the year, we lost to a very, very bad Oakland team, and I think that set everybody off. So, I, along with 4 of the, well-respected veterans, were released. They blew it up. They went younger. Raheem Morris became the head coach, and that immediately, intrigued me in regards to coaching. So I think for my journey, I called Jay Gruden, obviously John's brother, who was in the booth, assisting as an offensive assistant on game day because he was coaching the Arena League football team at that point. I got his first outdoor job as an offensive coordinator. So I called Jay to congratulate him and promptly asked him, hey, if you don't mind, I'd love to come up and see how this coaching thing goes and, be a fly on the wall. And he was like, man, shoot, why don't you come and coach my wideouts? So I talked to my wife for one night and she said, go for it. This is what you want to do. And there I was, Ike the coach.
That's great.
It's awesome.
Hey, when you look at the guys that Florida has now, the wide receivers that Florida has now, because I know you still get to see them play. I mean, we've seen a change in what Florida's been able to do under Dan Mullen after 10 years of wandering in the wilderness, where there are actually some really good wide receivers here. And now you're obviously getting to see them in the NFL as well, guys like Van Jefferson.
Oh, yeah. I think they've done a really unique job of putting different bodies together instead of trying to get the same guy. And I think that's helped tremendously. You look at, the guys that are coming out now, with Grimes and Tony. One's a tree in Grimes, 6'3", 6'3.5", I think he is, somewhere around there. Potential to be a big play threat. Needs to be a little bit better of a knee bender, but aggressive to the ball, all of that stuff. Where, Kadarius Toney, you probably couldn't touch him in a phone booth. And, you'll have some issues here, some concentration drops, but there's no question when he gets the ball in his hand, he's dynamic. And I can go on about the other guys that are there, but, along with Van and along with, God, I'm drawing a blank, the kid that's in Seattle. Freddie, big play Freddie. Yeah. And Cleveland. I think when you get a group of players that way, that in the last couple of years that are draft eligible, you can see that they're trending in the right direction in terms of recruiting and talent.
Yeah, no question about it. It is. I mean, you probably have seen Kyle Pitts play too, and everybody calls him a unicorn around here. And I'm like, yeah, there's not going to be another one like this. Like there's never going to be another Percy Harvey.
Right. You're right about that. I think what he brings to to the NFL or any offense he's around, just like he did in Gainesville. And I didn't want to discredit him at all because I was just speaking on the wideouts. But he reminds me a lot of Jordan Reed. And, Jordan was probably a tick more dynamic laterally. But in terms of playmaking ability and what he does to a defense on a weekly basis, there's no question he's going to be a special talent on the next level.
Also, last thing before we let you go, Ike, and it's been great to have you on. I know there's a lot of Gator fans that are so excited to see you, and they'll root for wherever you go. So don't
appreciate it.
But how important of it for you? Obviously, it was important to come back and get your degree, which I know you just got a few years ago. Yeah.
You know what? I was fortunate enough to be in that situation to have an option to go to the NFL or not, I can't, I can't really communicate on how blessed I was for that unique situation. And you hear people say all the time, school's going to be there. Well, that's true. I made a promise to my mom and to my family. I'm a first generation graduate, and it took me a lot longer than I expected to get it because I wasn't in the mindset of going back immediately after college. With the way everything started and how everything went, look, I was fortunate enough to be drafted in '97, and that same year, in the first drive of the second game, the fourth play, I have a neck injury and I have a neck fusion, 6 and 7, and 2 or 3 specialists told me I couldn't play football anymore. And, from that point, it's really about survival and how long I can keep cleats on my feet. And that's kind of the space that I was in. And as you grow and you learn and, you gain information, and then you're tasked with, teaching and educating young men. I can't talk about, getting an education and not be about that in a sense and not finish that deal. So it was important to me, not only from the standpoint of a promise that I made to my late mother. I also obviously am married. I've been married 19 years. I have kids, and to be that example for them, to be that example for the young men that I'm fortunate enough to be around and coach on, many days throughout the year. It was beyond, obviously a gratifying feeling to finally get that done. As hard as it was at times having a full-time job and trying to get that done, it was definitely gratifying for me. And, I'm definitely thrilled that, my family were able to share in that moment, and I can use that as I continue to go forward with a lot of young men that were in the same situation that I am in the NFL right now. Have you ever shown your kids the stop and pop play? I mean, you bring it out every once in a while? They've seen it. They obviously said, you were not that good, and that's what kids do. So it's always fun talking ball, with my girls in the house. And they were actually fortunate enough to get their first football game in last year against Vandy in Gainesville because, my work schedule never overlapped where I can get back down to Gainesville. And they're all in, and they all want to be Gators, and hopefully we can get that done and make that happen when their time comes. Well, we hope so too. Ike, can't thank you enough, man. It's been so much fun talking to you, and good luck going forward. I was rooting for the Steelers, just so you know. Okay. I appreciate that, and I really appreciate you reaching out, and thank you for having me. To all the Gator fans out there, I hope everyone's safe and well, and hopefully we can do this again sometime soon. Yeah, absolutely, buddy. Thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. All right, it is time for us to move to 3 things, which we're going to talk about right now. Although I think I said, believe it or not, during that segment, I said Percy Harvey, didn't I? Instead of Percy Harvin. I said Percy Harvey. Come on, Pat. You make fun of people who make mistakes like that. All right, it is time for 3 things presented by Trey Tucker, a licensed therapist. Let him take you from good to great. And clearly, I need to be taken from good to great because good was Percy Harvey. And great is a whole nother story.
All right, let's do three things right now. Number one, I really feel bad for Tampa Bay. I'm going to take these off because they get a little echo. For Tampa Bay, because you get a Super Bowl and it's like the event of the year, and obviously not a lot's going on. The parties can't go on. The teams aren't getting in till the weekend. It's a different kind of Super Bowl. In fact, they're testing so much. I saw today that both teams are testing 3 times a day. That is how important the Super Bowl is to the NFL. Not that the players are that important to them. They've got to have a great Super Bowl for a lot of reasons. But I do feel bad for Tampa, the city of Tampa, and all the surrounding cities, because when you get a Super Bowl, and they've had plenty. I've been to, Ike was mentioning one of the ones I went to was that one down in Tampa. In fact, I think I went to 2 in Tampa, 2 in Miami, 1 in Anaheim. I don't know. It's a lot. I'm very fortunate. At any rate, I just feel bad for them. What are you going to do, though? Not much you can do. You can't change anything. Number 2, please do not tell me that a team there was an upset if it's the NBA or Major League Baseball. There are no such things as upsets in those sports. The seasons are too long. They're going to lose some games. Last night, the Lakers were upset by the Pistons. I go, why? Why were they upset? Were they upset? Were they mad with them? No, but they won. So I thought maybe the Lakers are in trouble. They're 14-6. Whatever. It doesn't matter till the end anyway. Just don't call it an upset. You call it an upset in baseball, and I'm coming to your house. That's how mad I get about it, okay? There is no such thing as an upset in baseball. Florida will not go 56-0 in baseball, and they have the best team in the country. They will lose a game, and it won't be an upset. I'm telling you. Finally, number 3, interesting, not non-news today, because earlier this week, the ACC announced they're going back to normal, and Notre Dame is going to be not an ACC school in football. Of course, they are in the other sports, and they will still play, 5 or 6 games against the ACC. It's an odd situation, but it is what it is. And people really think there should be a change here. That the Notre Dame needs to get into a conference, go into the ACC full time. It'd be better. If it works for Notre Dame, it works for Notre Dame. It's one of the only schools, if not the only one, it does work for. They gave up their TV money because they needed the games against the ACC and they needed to be part of it. But that was a one-time deal, man. They ain't doing that again. And Notre Dame will be an independent probably as long as I live. Maybe, hopefully not. I personally don't care whether they're an independent or they play in the ACC or whatever. Doesn't matter to me. All right, we have to take a break here, but first, you all know one of our title sponsors is ABC Fine Wine and Liquors, and we appreciate them being on board. Great news now. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. We will take a break. I'm having trouble with some words today. Robbie Andreu will join us. We'll talk to him about a bunch of things. We also have the Leonardo's Millhopper contest coming up. I got some really cool ones for you today. The Adams Rib Gators of the Week. There's plural this week because we have 2. And we'll reveal a new segment as well. All of that coming up and more here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast. You may be like the Florida football team and you want to move from good to great. I can tell you how to do that with the help of a Gator graduate. His name is Trey Tucker, and he's an executive coach and licensed therapist who can give you the kind of guidance that will unlock your potential. With one-on-one online sessions, he'll develop your communication skills, find your purpose, and identify your strengths. Take a step in the right direction with Trey Tucker by reaching him at 423-799-0769 or Trey@TuckerExecutiveCoaching.com. Executive coaching from a licensed therapist With more than a decade of corporate experience and someone who knows the fight song, what's not to like? And tell them Pat Dooley sent you.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. All right, welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast, joined by my friend and colleague, former colleague. Are we colleagues still?
Well, formerly of the Gainesville Sun, so former colleagues.
Yeah, so we're not colleagues anymore.
No, but friends forever.
Yeah, okay.
Maybe.
Robbie Andreu joining us. We just had Ike Hilliard. It was great. It was as good as I thought it would be. He's doing a heck of a job in the NFL.
Well, I know he's not only a great player, but a coach, Pat. He's trying to have a great career in that regard. But he reminded me. Kadarius Toney reminds me of him in a way because of that quickness, that ankle-breaking quickness that they had.
Well, I mean, I guess they have to be quick because they're not tough, according to Emmitt Smith.
Well, he's got a point, though.
I wrote the same thing a couple of weeks ago, Robbie, about how there needs to be discipline and toughness in this program.
What happened to pull the rope in the first year, the second year? What happened to that?
It went away.
I mean, you can't tell me that Savage has gotten soft on these guys, so what's going on there?
Well, I think you had to be a little soft on guys because of the COVID.
How strange it all was.
If they pull muscles, they pull a leg, they pull a hamstring, a groin.
How do you pull a leg?
You just
He's out with a pulled leg.
You just tell a joke and then you pull his leg.
As opposed to a sprained arm.
Yeah. Sprained arm. That's the kind of answers we used to get from
Galen Hall.
No, from and also from Muschamp.
Oh yeah.
He's got a lower extremity.
Yeah.
Where is that? But yeah, Emmett saying that, I agree with him. I think there needs to be a little bit more toughness. He said Florida is too sensitive. The players are too sensitive.
Yeah. So that means mental toughness more maybe than physical toughness, which they've,
But I mean, I don't know anybody tougher than Kyle Pitts to take that hit and want to come back and everything. I got no problem with him, but there were some step out of bounds, sometimes guys not running over people.
And how do you respond to adversity? You throw the shoe against LSU, you still have a chance to stop them, but you don't. You do. Let them go to field goal range. So that maybe is part of it too.
Yeah, and why is LSU in the game?
Yeah.
At the same time.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But I mean, I think that's where the lack of toughness is more than anything is on defense, and that's where they've got to get tougher. And I don't know that bringing in 2 grad transfers is going to make them tougher. I think Brenton Cox with another year, and again, you hope that he can get into Savage's weight program because last year these guys kind of had to.
Yeah, and having Moon come back, I think is big too, Pat, because he was hurt a lot of the year, and I think he has a chance to be a really big time guy here in his final year, so they can use him.
If I was Dan Mullen, and I'm not.
You'd be rich if you were.
I'd be rich, yes. But I would take that quote from Emmett and I would plaster it all over that weight room and everything.
Nothing gets an athlete fired up if you call him soft or not tough.
Especially when it's the all-time leading rusher.
I know, yeah.
Who played with a separated shoulder in the playoffs as well.
Mentally and physically tough.
Yes, exactly. Guys know this, but I want to tell you, Robbie Andreu's appearances are brought to you by Ocala Family Dentistry. Call Lauren Cartwright. I messed up her name the first time. I said Lauren Cartwright.
Lauren.
I also called.
You should know Lauren.
I also had Percy Harvey today.
You did?
Yeah. I don't know what's wrong.
I don't remember when he was playing.
I do. Okay. Ocala Family Dentistry. Call Lauren Cartwright, 352-351-4412. We appreciate them sponsoring Robbie's segments, and we appreciate them. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here.
Yeah, glad to be here.
All right, it is time right now to do our Leonardo's Millhopper quick picks, and I want to see what Robbie's take is on it. And as you know, the winner of this gets some great stuff, and I know that the winner of the first one that we did was ecstatic, said he loved everything that he got. You're going to get a shirt. You're going to get some Leonardo's pizza.
Always a good thing.
Yeah. So here are the quick picks, and we'll put this up on Facebook and on what do they call it? The Twitter thing. Twitter.
You're having problems, Pat.
I don't know what's wrong with me. All right. Here are our questions. Number 1. Who wins the SEC Big 12 Challenge? Now, we had a game canceled already.
Yeah.
Kentucky's
out.
Texas. I would have liked Texas in that game.
Yeah, I would have too.
But there are some bad teams at the end of the Big 12, and that may help the SEC out because they have to play all theirs. Florida, the SEC doesn't have to play.
Yeah.
But so you're out of 9. You don't have to say how many they win. You don't have to get that right. All you have to do is say SEC or Big 12. Very simple. And you know we're going to be a winner. Yeah. Sometimes you would have a tie, 5-5.
Yeah. But now you're not.
Who do you like?
Well, give me the games.
I don't have time to do that.
Okay, give them to me.
Florida is playing West Virginia.
I like West Virginia in that game.
Okay.
In a close one, though.
All right. Well, you got it. All right. So we're going with the Big 12.
We're going with the Big 12.
All right. Number 2, Scotty Lewis will be in double figures in something in this game. I got a feeling Scotty Lewis, he got his feet wet on Wednesday. I think he may come out and do something big, whether he scores a lot of points or gets a lot of rebounds or gets a lot of assists, whatever he does. So yes or no, Scotty Lewis gets double figures in something.
I think he will. But
and we're not counting minutes played.
Yeah, but Pat, the funny thing about Scotty Lewis is before the game on the week, earlier this week, I'm thinking, if he comes back, is that going to hurt their chemistry? And he had the same kind of quote after the game. He was afraid that he might mess up their chemistry a little bit, but he didn't.
I think he'll play with a different energy, even in this game.
He will, and I think he'll get double-figure in points, maybe in rebounds, maybe a double-double.
All right, you can't get spreads a day ahead of time. I didn't know this about college basketball, that it's hard to get them. I couldn't find them. So I set my own spread on this game. Florida getting 4 at West Virginia.
I don't know if that's enough, Pat.
That's what I'm setting it at.
Yeah.
You're down on Gator basketball.
No, I'm up on them, but WVU is good. I watched them play.
That's your club.
Yeah. Well, they're not my club.
Well, your wife's from there.
Yeah, but she doesn't care about WVU.
Well, what do you call it? You're the only person in Gainesville calls it WVU.
No, I'm not.
It's West Virginia.
You just called it WVU.
It's West by God, Virginia.
Okay.
Golly, WVU. You're probably all concerned about the Marshall coach.
No, I really don't care about that one.
All right, so that's number 3. And number 4, how about this over-under? You've never seen an over-under like this. Florida, gymnastics, 198 is the over-under. They haven't gotten there yet this year. They've been right around it in little 197s, but this is the 4th meet of the year. Maybe this is the meet they get over it. They've been right there. Now you're thinking now.
No, I'm thinking they're going over.
Okay.
I think they're going to go over.
But it made you think. You got to admit that.
But I keep thinking one fall and blah blah blah. But I think they're going to go over.
Okay. So there it is, and again we'll put it out there. SEC or Big 12 this weekend in the challenge. Scotty Lewis double figures in one category. Other than minutes, don't try to sneak that one by me. Florida getting 4 against West Virginia, and the over/under for Florida in gymnastics 198, which is a very high score. But
what's the highest they've ever had?
It's higher than that.
199.
It's in the high 198s, I think. Yeah, but no, I don't think they've ever gotten to 199. It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
What if you got a 200?
You'd be perfect, right?
Yeah. What if you were bowling and got a 200?
That'd be okay. Good. Okay. Not a 300 though.
You would be good. All right, let's talk to you about Brian Johnson leaving and Garrick McGee taking over.
I didn't even know he was there, to be honest with you.
Nobody did, yeah.
Until they hired him. So.
But apparently this was the plan all along, that they were going to do this, and because they knew Brian Johnson would leave.
Well, yeah, my point, Pat, when he elevated him to offensive coordinator, I think he was doing that to kind of help advance his coaching career because he knows that the guy is going to be a really good coach. I think he did that bumped him up to get him noticed and get another job, and that's what happened.
Yeah, real good recruiter.
So I think it was planned.
That will, and he recruited Miami, didn't he, Brian?
Yeah. I'm not sure, Pat.
Well, come on, get on board with it. I was talking to somebody who knew. I didn't know.
Well, he strikes him as a really good recruiter because he's very engaging and a really good guy.
So they could have hired Charlie Strong and Kerwin Bell. Instead, they got a guy his name I can't pronounce, and Garrick McGee.
You got to trust your coach, Pat. That's all I'm going to tell you.
That is what all fans should do. They either trust their coach or they don't. If you don't trust them, you're not a fan.
I know. But you look at what Saban's doing. He's hiring NFL coaches to be coordinators.
Yeah.
But how long are they going to be there?
Well, and that's the thing.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you want to be?
Are they going to be able to recruit?
Yeah. But the more success you have, the more likely guys are going to leave.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's coming in looking at 3 and 9 teams. And
but the thing is, too,
I want your coordinator.
Yeah. But then if you have that, then the recruits are going to want to come anyhow, and that's where Alabama's at. Doesn't matter who the assistants are.
I talked to our friend Scott Strickland today because I was curious about a couple things with the schedule because we all knew what was coming. We knew Alabama was going to be the third game.
I was wondering about the FSU game, though, Pat.
Well, I was wondering who they would play also before that.
Yeah.
And what he told me, the SEC does want to get better games there because remember there was a time when it was dog,
terrible.
dog.
Yeah, you didn't even watch them.
The next to last, the penultimate weekend of college football wasn't much fun.
No.
And the SEC is saying, hey, everybody's got to take turns playing big games. So Florida gets Missouri instead of Samford.
Yeah.
Samford gets up a week early. So I was curious about that. Also the fact that they but second game of the year is with USF in Raymond
on the road.
James.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the reason there is
it's a 2-for-1, right?
It's still a 2-for-1 though. They just wanted to move that game up. It's an interesting schedule, but I mean, like when I look at this team right now, I see somewhere between 8-4 and 10-2.
Yeah. Aren't they on the road forever, like in October?
Yeah, they are. Well, if you count Jacksonville as being on the road.
Yeah.
But that's what I see.
But you're not at home. You're not home.
I see a team that could be good enough to get into a New Year's Day Bowl, but might be in the Outback.
Yeah. Yeah, very well could be. A lot depends on how quarterback play turns out to be also, Pat.
There's no doubt about it.
And I can see a scenario where two of them play and kind of share time there because I think Richardson's really got a big upside, and I think we're going to see more of him this year.
What do you think about getting Alabama early? Well, I think I'd rather get them in Game 3 than any.
You want to get them early because they're going to have a new quarterback, which, on the road. So.
And you don't want them in the first game because they have the whole year to prepare.
Yeah, they're all ready to kick your butt. But, I think they get them in a good spot, really, where you got a new quarterback and a lot of new starters.
Wasn't the game where Brantley hit DeBose, wasn't that like the third game of the season?
I think it was the first game.
No, it wasn't the first.
Second game?
Might have been the second or third.
It was early. I know it was early.
Score on the first play. And
that was the kickoff return?
Yeah.
Yeah, then nothing.
Nothing the rest of the game. All right.
I really thought Florida had a chance going into that game based on talking to players that week. It was like,
I did.
But no.
You do get fooled by players sometimes.
Yeah, I do. And coaches.
You and I both got fooled. The what's the name of the bowl in New Orleans? Sugar Bowl.
You need a break.
I may need a break. The Sugar Bowl, we were convinced Florida was going to roll because they were talking about all we're doing is studying film and eating Popeyes. That's it.
Yeah.
Then we found out they were out all
They're
night.
out carousing, yeah. You know what else I got fooled, Pat?
us.
The 95 game with Nebraska. Doring, Jeff Mitchell, all those players for weeks were saying, we're going to kill these guys quietly. Off the record, we're going to kill these guys. They haven't seen anything like us, but man, I was fooled by that one.
We just had Jason Odom on Monday, and he was talking about it.
Yeah.
Wasn't pleasant.
But then I think they really thought they were going to blow Nebraska out.
Yeah. There were a lot of things going on there. Some of them we couldn't talk about. Some of them I know about. All right, it is time, before we take our last break, it's time to do our Adams Rib Company Gator of the Week. Now, of course, we'll do a Gator of the Weekend on Monday. We appreciate Adam for being on as a sponsor, a great friend of ours as well. And Robbie, you're going to like this Gator of the Week because I made two guys, and I talked to their coach.
Oh, good.
And he gave me the reason to do it. And
One's a golfer.
They're both golfers.
Oh, good. They won that tournament.
They just won their tournament, which was in at Timuquana.
Yeah.
Where they have
You've been there before.
Well, we used to call it the Timuquana root rule, which anytime you can say, I think there's a root, I can kick it out.
Improve your lie a little bit.
Yeah. And I never slice. All right, Joe Pagden and Ricky Castillo. Joe Pagden, what he did was make the birdie to win it because
That's clutch, huh?
Went to overtime or went to a
sudden death, Pat.
Sudden death.
Sudden death, Pat.
So the first hole, they all make pars.
Yeah.
And then the next hole, he makes the birdie that wins it. But the reason they were there was Ricky Castillo, who's an unbelievable golfer, and shot 7 under for the tournament.
Wow, that's unbelievable.
So
who made the clutch par putt to make sure they got into?
I think he did. Yeah.
I think he did too.
Yeah. So that is those are our Adams Rib Company Gators of the Week. We'll be back Monday with the Gator of the Weekend. We'll see who does well. There's a lot going on. Think about this, Robbie. Today you've got men's and women's tennis. You've got gymnastics tonight. You've got volleyballs playing at 3 o'clock today, a home meet or away meet. They play again tomorrow, and of course we got basketball tomorrow. And we're going to get into a situation here where everybody's playing because soccer will start playing, baseball, softball. Up. Everybody's going to be playing.
All those sports that couldn't play last spring.
I know. And you just have your choice of where to go watch.
Yeah.
And I know where it is.
I'll be watching the basketball game. Yeah, I'm there. I'm in the man cave.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about one little segment we're going to start doing and see if Robbie's got anything else to say.
Okay.
You're listening or watching Another Dooley Noted Podcast.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
You may be like the Florida football team and you want to move from good to great. I can tell you how to do that with the help of a Gator graduate. His name is Trey Tucker, and he's an executive coach and licensed therapist who can give you the kind of guidance that will unlock your potential. With one-on-one online sessions, he'll develop your communication skills, find your purpose, and identify your strengths. Take a step in the right direction with Trey Tucker by reaching him at 423-799-0769 or Trey at tuckerexecutivecoaching.com. Executive coaching from a licensed therapist with more than a decade of corporate experience and someone who knows the fight song, what's not to like? And tell them Pat Dooley sent you. All right, welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast. And unfortunately, some breaking news came down. John Chaney passed away. And my only interaction
Former
with him,
Temple basketball coach.
My only interaction with him was Florida played them. The year after, in 2000, when Florida got to the final game, the next year Florida played, I think, Western Kentucky to open. They had a 7-5 guy that wasn't any good. And then they played Temple, and Temple racked them. I mean, they killed them. But we had this, situation where we got to sit around with John Chaney and just shoot the breeze.
Oh, that's good.
And it was great. What a great guy. If for no other reason than threatening to kill John Calipari during a press conference.
That's beautiful.
That makes him a hero to me.
No question.
That's a shame. It feels. I think as we get older, Robbie, more people that we've heard of and know. Or covered or everything are passing away. Obviously, with Hank Aaron last week was.
I know that was a hurtful one. I'll tell you.
And then our friend Sekou Smith passing away.
That was a hard one.
He had COVID, and he was in his late 40s, I think.
Yeah.
Covered the NBA. In fact, I was gonna call him, see if I could get him on the show when the NBA playoffs. But
Hank Aaron, though, Pat, everybody remembers where they were on 7/15.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I mean, I was in Gordon Smith's house watching with his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
7/16, 7/17. I remember them all. I can tell you who you hit them off of. No, I can't do that. All right, we're going to start. By the way, don't forget Robbie Andrews.
Andrews.
There's
no S on the end.
Percy Harvey and Robbie Andrews.
You need to retire. Oh wait, you already did.
It's sad, man. I don't know what the words. They just aren't coming out of my mouth. Robbie Andrews.
John Dooley.
Robbie Andrews.
Hang down your head, John Dooley.
Appearances are brought to you by Ocala Family Dentistry. Call Lauren Cartwright, a Florida grad, at 352-351-4412. All right. So the last thing we're going to do is we're doing this new thing called Friends of the Podcast. Some people who have given us some money to be sponsors, and we're going to do you'll like this, Robbie.
Okay.
This, that, and the other.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. So
Spurrier. This, that, and the other.
The sponsors today, and will be for going forward, Ballyhoo Grill, which we both love very much, and Darshackow Insurance, who've been sponsors of my golf tournament as well.
I'm headed to Ballyhoo after this, but
I think I can do that. All right, never mind. Karen may be watching this.
Even if she's not watching, she felt it when you said that. She got the vibe. The little buzzer went off. Pat wants to go have fun.
He's just kidding.
I'm kidding.
I love it. All right, so this, that, and the other. All right, and let me explain to you what this, that, and the other means. This is what Spurrier always says. I mean, we don't know what it means, really, but I've deciphered it.
It was his firm of yada, yada, yada.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was his yada, yada, yada.
Before yada, yada, yada.
This is what something is. That is what maybe it changes to, and the other is what it eventually becomes. All right, so this, UCF won a national championship in football. They had a parade. They had Mike Bianchi present the trophy.
They really did.
They were the national champs, yes, in football. They had a parade. All
right? No.
That's this. That is that it allowed, I mean, it made people want to beat them and also not like them. And it almost
was a real turnoff.
It was, and guess what? Now you had a target on your back.
Yeah.
If you're UCF, and what happened? They lost a lot more games than they were losing.
6-4 this year, right?
Yeah.
So is Tennessee that fired him about getting a coach that's kind of starting to?
Well, can I finish this segment first?
Okay. If you can get it out right.
This, that, and the other is that the AD's gone, the coach is gone, the quarterback from that era is gone.
He's at FSU.
He's at FSU. Is Bianchi still there?
I think he's there.
He may still be there, but everybody's left, and now you're sitting there, and all you are is a laughingstock in a lot of ways. And for one reason is you had a chance to bring Florida to your stadium, and you turned it down.
Yeah.
And that was the dumbest thing Danny White ever did. I think Danny White's sharp. I think he's going to be a good athletic director for them, for Tennessee. I was worried that they would get somebody like that. But not playing Florida was just stupid on his part.
Yeah, I think it was too bad. I mean, that gives you legitimacy right there.
Absolutely.
And now all they have is a trophy that nobody cares about.
You've got an event.
Yeah.
This is a huge event. Florida's coming to
a statement, a huge statement, potentially.
And not for the Outback Bowl.
Yeah.
They're coming for something else.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Heupel getting hired up there?
Well, I think that with White, he feels comfortable because he knows the guy. And it could be kind of a Strickland Mullen type thing where you know what kind of guy he is, what kind of coach he is, what potential he has. So I think it's a good hire, but I don't think it's a great hire. And you look at where the UCF program's gone in the 3 years under him. It's
gone down.
It's not been going this way or that way, it's like you said.
Yeah.
So that would concern me a little bit. And he's walking into a situation where there's the NCAA's all over him and people are leaving. So.
Well, but here's the other thing too. I think Danny White just couldn't get anybody else.
Yeah.
Because most people are looking at that job, and we had this discussion before. I had it with Chris Lowe and the other day. When you look at the Tennessee job, are you judging it now? Are you judging it in 5 years?
Yeah,
are you judging it 5 years ago?
Yeah.
It's like Alabama. Well, that's the #1 job at the SEC. How was it when Mike Shula was there?
They were struggling.
Or Mike Price.
Or Mike DeBose.
It's rolling.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike is not a good hire for them.
No, it's not.
Yeah, not so far. But in Tennessee's case, yes, I think that's a terrible job right now. I think it's 7th or 8th in the SEC. Now, could you make it? Could it eventually get back to where it's 4th? Because it's not going to be better than Florida, Georgia, Alabama, maybe Texas A&M, LSU.
Yeah, there's a long
It's not
way.
going to get over those.
No.
Because of the lack of players in the state of Florida,
of Tennessee,
that are there, and then you've got to, and we've talked about this before, Robbie. Back when Fulmer had it rolling, Clemson wasn't great.
No.
Alabama wasn't great. Georgia wasn't great. Florida wasn't doing what they're doing. So they had it made there, and they were able to get a lot of players that way.
Yeah, but now their recruiting pool is shrunk considerably. They're really not a national recruiting team anymore.
So that is this, that, and the other. This, they won the national championship and had a parade. That, they became the target of not only media boys, but of other teams that were playing against them. And then the other is that everybody's gone.
Yeah, they're all gone now.
Nobody's left.
The trophy and Bianchi are left. That's
all right.
it.
We do have one text question. If you want to get a text question in, the number is 352-780 0720. The one we got was who will win the Super Bowl. And look, I'm not gonna. I would not bet against Tom Brady.
No, I wouldn't either.
But I really like Kansas City despite their idiotic song. Because they run a college offense.
Yeah.
And it's like guys are going everywhere.
And they've got so much talent and speed on the perimeter and so many options that they're hard to stop. And when they get rolling, look out. But, I think the Bucs, they lost to them at home late in the season, right?
Yep.
In a game that was pretty competitive, take away the interceptions that Brady had.
But I
like the Bengals in the game, but I have
the
a feeling.
Bengals?
The Bengals. The Chiefs.
That's even worse.
I've been sitting next to you, and I get it. Through osmosis. What the heck?
Come on, man. Osmosis.
Okay.
Like I've got osmosis.
Okay, so I think the Bengals will win the Super Bowl. With Ken Anderson,
They've
the
never won
quarterback.
any.
No, I know.
They almost won one was Boomer the quarterback then? With Sam Weiss, and they had to go down the field, the 49ers, to win that Super Bowl. I wasn't at that one.
That was in Miami.
Yeah, it was.
I was at that one.
I'm going to pick Kansas City. I think they're the better team. I'm picking them, but
okay, I'm picking the Bucs. Then.
Betting against Tom Brady is the dumbest thing you can do.
Okay,
and I've been doing it all through the playoffs.
Picking against you is probably smart though, so that's why I'm going with the Bucs.
There you have it. There you have it. Okay. All right. I think that's going to do it. I want to thank all of our sponsors, especially our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits, and Titan MRI. You can put those together, slip on something.
Yeah, perfect.
And you're in there getting your MRI.
You might need an MRI after this.
And they may want to look and see if there's anything in there.
Something clogged up there or whatever.
Could be. Really want to thank Ike Hilliard for being on. It was fun. Robbie, maybe you can go watch it later. It's a great interview.
I will.
He was just so much fun to talk to, and it's so great to see him. Kind of looks the same, like he hadn't gained a pound since he was 171 as a defensive back over there in, what was it, Patterson, Louisiana?
I think it was Patterson, yeah.
And always great to have Robbie, and love that Lauren Cartwright is sponsoring him. We love having all these sponsors, so we'll just keep going. We got a couple more still, but by the end of next week, we may not. We may be fooled up. So
that'd be a good thing.
Yeah. So for Percy Harvey and Robbie Andrews
and Tom Dooley
hanging
his head low.
That's going to do it for our show today. We'll be back with you on Monday when James Bates will be our special guest. So that'll be fun.
That's always fun.
Yeah, it may be more fun than this.
Yeah.
All right. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I am way back, and I am out of here.